Help me understand why you would never reach out to her and tell her why you're so hurt by that.
FOMO, fear of missing out. Something of like, if we really have this conversation, how frank are we going to get? I don't want her to leave.
Did she ever hear you say, I don't want you to leave?
No.
I found out he wasn't attracted to me when we got married. And I just thought, oh gosh, well, that's terrible. But then he said, you know, he loved me now. Then it just became more and more apparent, and certainly the last few years, he just wasn't interested.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Well, the Sister Wives season finale was on Sunday, and there's been a lot of questions from so many of you about what's going on with the family, what the fallout looks like, how are the kids doing, tons and tons and tons of questions about Kody and how he's managed, like Kody and the relationship he might still have or not have with Truly, and a lot of just overall like, how are the kids feeling and what is going on? So, you know, I told you last week how Paedon Brown showed up on my comments, and I told you how he has been doing kind of a unique thing for this family and speaking to the media. The family with the Browns, for the most part, they don't speak to the media overall. They do interviews for the show, but they are pretty tight-lipped when it comes to doing interviews, and it could have to do with their contracts with TLC. Paedon Brown, who is the oldest and the only boy of Christine and Kody, he may not have a contract and may not be tied to TLC in that way. So his ability to speak about what's going on in their lives might be less restrained. And so he has done a couple interviews with the son and giving a little bit of a backstory about what's been going on with the family, what's it like with his relationship with Robyn, how are things between him and his dad, does Kody have a relationship still with Truly, where's the family at, all of these different items. So I also I reached out to Paedon to see if he could answer a few questions. By the time I made this video, he had not responded. So I'm going to be going off of what he told what he said to the son on what's going on with the family. And I think none of this should actually surprise you, because if you follow my channel, you know that a couple months ago, Christine on a cameo basically had said that her relationship with Kody was very strained. They were having a very tough time communicating and co-parenting. She had hoped that things would get better, but at that point when she was making that cameo, things were tense. And even on the tell-all, she basically said that she and Kody were kind of in a tough spot. And Kody basically admits on the tell-all and on his cameos that he is grieving and angry and annoyed. So what's going on with the family? Okay, so first off, Paedon addressed sort of that video that I showed you of what does the nanny do. So he wore a shirt, and by the way, you guys, I designed some merch, and I do have a what does the nanny do shirt. It's totally different than everyone else's. I wanted mine to be a little bit unique, something that I would actually wear. So check out the merch if you'd like to buy it. No big deal, but a bunch of you had asked for a design. I know tons of creators are making them, so I'm not claiming that I came up with this idea. It's all over the internet. He wore that shirt on his TikTok, and he basically said, oh, it's kind of funny. And instantly, you know, we were all like, oh, he's shading Robyn. He's shading his dad. Paedon is on team Christine. Well, turns out Paedon says that he wasn't really trying to be on anyone's team when he wore it. He just thought it was funny. He said this about the shirt, that he thought it would be really funny to just wear the shirt. And he said, I've only worn it once, and that was simply to post a video on it. It was just funny. I'm not trying to dig anyone. It's not me trying to say like, oh, this is a really funny shirt because mom blew up. I will always support my mom, but me wearing this t-shirt wasn't me saying I'm totally for her. And he wasn't trying to take a dig at Robyn. But when it comes down to his relationship with Robyn, he did say that his relationship with Robyn is kind of weird and a little bit strange. So this is his quote. My relationship with Robyn has always been strange and weird. There are honestly so many reasons for that. I was rude to her kids. I saw my dad's doing things with them that he didn't do with me. And so I ended up being rude to them. So he didn't like me being rude to her kids. So she didn't like me being rude to her kids. If you remember when the families merged, the kids did struggle with blending in Dayton and Aurora and Brianna into the family. And Paedon said that, you know, if we're being honest here, he says what every one of us as viewers sees, that Robyn's kids do seem to get preferential treatment, that he is doing things for these kids that he never would have done for Christine's kids. Like, for instance, when Christine's daughter, Gwendolyn, and Aurora graduated high school at the same time, Kody did not decide to drive Gwendolyn. He made the decision to drive Aurora. And Christine drove Gwendolyn, which, you know, I'm sure at that point in time, maybe Christine wanted to drive Gwendolyn, but Gwendolyn is his biological daughter. I mean, he has been with Gwendolyn since birth. Aurora came into their lives when she was 9. So not to say that she's not his daughter. I mean, she is his stepdaughter, and I think he adopted her. But at the same time, it's just like he picked Aurora over Gwendolyn. And then, you know, you see how he did this video not long ago where he was giving driving lessons to Brianna. And I was like, if this was Christine's kids, do you think that he would be doing the same thing? And I just don't see it. I don't see that he gives Christine's kids the same attention, the same affection, the same time. So Paedon basically asserts what most of us have seen. And Christine actually said this on the season, that her kids have a hard time really having good feelings about Kody when they see how he favors one wife and her kids over all of the rest of the family. Paedon did say that his relationship with Dayton and Aurora is now much better, but his relationship with Brianna is not great. But he says the relationship with Brianna has nothing to do with the fact that, like them or with Robyn, it's because she's much younger than he is. But Dayton and Aurora, he says he has a good relationship with, and everything's fine. And he's great friends with them. And then he also has kind of a not so great relationship with Savannah as well, because she's so much younger. But when it comes to whether or not his dad actually sees Truly, and if Truly is getting time with her dad, and what's going on between her dad, Kody, and Christine, he says that, so this is what he says: my mom still does speak to dad, and she wants to make sure that Truly has a relationship with dad and that he has a relationship with Truly. But in terms of, like, does he speak to Truly, he says they do speak, but there's a barrier there between the states. So they don't get to see each other as frequently. And in regards to whether or not his relationship is okay with his dad, he said, no, it's not great. So apparently he said that, I wish it was better. I don't like putting up with the rules. He said it got on my nerves that I wasn't allowed to see my siblings because of COVID. And then he also brought up Janelle's mom's funeral. And he said dad asked 2 of his wives not to go to his mother-in-law's funeral. So Kody has been kind of, I think the control, the rules, all of that has played a factor. The separation of the family, not allowing siblings to see each other, Kody controlling who gets to see one another, dictating who has relationships with who. I mean, it's been a couple years now. All of that's going to play a factor. All of that's going to be a lot of weight on a family. And I can see how this would make things challenging. Paedon said that he talks to his brothers all the time. So, you know, talks to Gabriel, Garrison, and Logan and Hunter, and he said his relationships with his brothers are fantastic, and that they don't really ever talk about the divorce because they don't have a reason to bring it up. And he said that he said, I love my family, I love my siblings, I do love my parents, but I don't love all of the decisions that each of them have made. He has been supporting his mom very openly. When the show was announced when Christine's new show was announced, her Cooking with Just Christine, he posted a TikTok and told everyone to follow along with her and watch the show, and that she really wants this to be successful and was hoping that this will take off because this is who she is and what she wants to do. So Christine has her eyes on her future being a cooking show on TLC and was really excited with this opportunity with TLC. And so Paedon was encouraging his followers and his, all the Sister Wives fans to support Christine on this journey. And Janelle actually posted on her Instagram that she was really excited for Christine's new show, Cooking with Just Christine, which will be just a digital show right now, not on the full network, but still a huge step forward. And if it does take off, other shows have started on the digital side with TLC, some of the 90 Day Fiance franchises, and some of the cast members from 90 Day have started off on their website, and then they moved to the network. So I'm hopeful that if this gets good enough, if it performs well enough, that it'll be more of a network show for Christine. So they haven't announced when they will actually be uploaded onto the website for TLC. I was on there today. No new Cooking with Just Christines just yet, but it does say that she's going to have special guests with her when she cooks. So different people will be stopping on by and cooking along with Christine, which will be so fun. I can't wait to see which people stop by in her kitchen and who she cooks for. And I really want to know how she makes those rolls that she makes that everyone says are great. They look so good, and I would love to know the recipe. So, and she's going to be doing a show on those rolls, so I'm super pumped to see it. And she was actually answering questions in comments, and she said this first round of recipes are basically just comfort food and just foods that, you know, she loves that are super easy to make, and not a lot of lighter fare. Comfort food all the way. So Paedon's relationship is complex, not good with his dad. This means that Paedon's doesn't have a good relationship with his dad. Garrison doesn't have a good relationship with his dad. Gabriel doesn't have a good relationship with his dad. I have no idea what's going on with Logan. Logan's in Vegas. Janelle just went to go visit him. I don't know where he stands with Maddie, or where he stands with Aspen, or where he stands with McKelty. None of them have really said anything, but his boys, Hunter hasn't said anything either, but at least 3 of his boys are barely on speaking terms with him and not happy with the way that he handled COVID. All right, so what are your thoughts about Paedon's sharing about Truly and Kody? So Truly not getting to spend a ton of time with her dad, obviously being out of state. Christine wants him to have a relationship with Truly. Do you think that Kody will put in an effort to have a relationship with Truly? Or do you think that Kody will allow the bitterness that he has for Christine to get in the way of having a healthy relationship with his daughter? Do you think he will just not put the effort, the time, and the energy into a relationship with Truly? Or do you think the fact that they live so far apart now is going to be a challenge that will dampen this relationship? What do you think the barrier is that's, you know, outside of the distance, that's the problem between the relationship between Kody and Truly right now? All right, tell me what your thoughts are about all of this in the comments below. Bye, guys.